All right, kids, it's that time again. It is time for the Grunge Bible Podcast. It is episode number 215. My name is Chris Salona, and I'm here with Ethan Shalloway, who's on the road. Ethan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Yes, I'm in Lexington, Kentucky.
The old stomping grounds.
The old bluegrass. So I came here for a competition, see some, it's actually Kentucky Derby weekend. I'm not going to be going. It's an hour away in Louisville, and it's going to be probably raining tomorrow. But yeah, I made the trip. I'm on my way home. I'm going to go back, and my older brother's having a kid. It's Mother's Day next week, and it's a good time for me to go home. Have this competition and like another one, but they're small. So my next big one's not till the end of May. So a little free time that I was able to travel to see some family, and it's much needed. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, this is big time.
Yeah, all things considered, I'm in a pretty good space. Going to knock this out and grab some coffee, some food, and compete later today. So yeah, we're energy levels are high.
Hell yeah, dude! I think this is a Grunge Bible podcast first in the way of recording on a meet day. Right. So hopefully,
not ideal, but it is.
But I think this is going to bring you abundant good fortune. I think it's going to have that effect.
I hope so. I think why not, right?
Yeah. Who's to say,
Yeah. So yeah, I'm doing well. How are you doing, man?
Nice, man. I'm good. Wrapping up a pretty solid week so far. We're recording this on Friday the 2nd. Had a good week, man. I'm trying to think. I did something on Tuesday. I forget what it was though, but Wednesday night I went to a concert. I saw PD and Medium Build in Providence. Which was really, really sick. And then last night I had opening night for my softball league. We put a 24-12 demolition job on the opposition, and that was the team that beat us in the championship last year. So we got our retribution. Man. The redemption arc begins with a rousing victory. I went 5 for 6 at the dish last night. I drove in 6 runs, so feel pretty good about that. And, played first and took care of that. So things are rolling along. Pretty, I don't know, this weekend will be kind of chill. I feel like my life the last few months, it's been inverted in the sense that I do everything that I need to do during the week. And then on the weekend, I just chill. I'm not mad about it. It feels pretty good to be able to do that. This week was seemingly pretty busy. But I got some stuff done and had some good experiences, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, hey, easy weekends are a beautiful thing. The older you get and whatnot. I mean, that's the way it should be. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, man. It's pretty good.
All right. So this episode, it's going to be a quickie. It's going to be short because our topic is going to be Merkin Ball, the EP released by Pearl Jam in 95. And there's 2 songs to go over. But there's some good lore behind it, and we may be able to go into Mirror Ball, the Neil Young album, another time. We won't go too in depth because we'll save it. But yeah, we're gonna go over a couple songs and do our normal This Day in Music, and it'll be a good one for everybody.
Yeah, this is going to be good. I feel like this is peak podcast form because some things that we've spoken about recently are going to pop up, and we've already inadvertently teased a couple of things that we want to do. I think we'll end up doing a Mirror Ball episode. And I also think that we'll end up doing an episode talking about PD Medium Build, because you might be going to their show when you go back home. So hopefully you do, and hopefully we can do that episode. So everything's all intertwined here in the Grunge Bible podcast universe, which is how we like it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying, we're trying to make it all connected. So
we are trying.
Thank you, everybody out there, for listening, taking the time to come and support us and watch. Hopefully, we bring some value to your life. We do have a Patreon that you're able to support us at a $2, $5, or $10 tier. Or, as we've been saying the last couple of weeks, you can make your own. You can choose your own adventure.
BYOT. Build your own tier.
We have a 15-year-old tier, a 15-year, $15 tier.
That's the one.
That is being occupied by the one and only Abraham, the cutest basset hound, but
the literal top dog.
The literal top dog. Yeah, exactly. But so if you're listening today and you think that might be a good time to get on the train of support, then let's do it. we're here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thank you, Abraham, for remaining the top dog. I hope the new year of life for Abraham is kicking off wonderfully so, having turned 12 on the 27th. But the rest of the top tier, we would like to thank D-Boat, Black Hole Sean, A Bit Dusty, Doug Endy, Apona, Gochu John, Eddie Vedder got me through my second divorce, Jade Mercado, Jamie Lynn, Carlene Salona, Michael Dooley Project, King Buzzo Stole My Hair, Russell, Nikki Six, Seattle 4 Fanboy from New Jersey, Sunshine Slackers, Sherry Matthews, and Ultra Mega OK, as well as What the Fuck is Up, Denny's. Thanks, gang. Appreciate
Thank you, everybody.
all of your support. Honestly, like, I gotta say, it's been ages since I've been to Denny's, or like, I mean, Waffle House is better than Denny's, and I've not been to one of those in a long time. I have, like, I'm kind of jonesing for something like that right now, honestly.
Yeah, I totally agree. Last time I tried to get a Waffle House, it was actually closed. It was after a Goose concert.
I thought they weren't allowed to close.
I know. It was one on campus. It was, it wasn't a real one, I guess.
Yeah,
it
it was a straw man.
Yeah, it was an on-campus Waffle House, but either way. All right, let's do some This Day in Music.
This Day in Music.
Got a short list here, but it's a good one nonetheless.
Absolutely.
Going back to 1945, the MTV legend Kurt Loder was born, the Load Man.
The big load. There he is. Kurt Loder turning 80. That's got to hit all of the Gen Zers right in the whatever part of them ends up hurting as they get older, because Kurt Loder was everybody's guy, obviously, being, a primary anchor for MTV. And you and I are both a little young to have really experienced, the full might of the Load himself. But, he was obviously an integral part of the MTV world. Did great interviews. Yeah. He was obviously a great anchor, and 80 years old is crazy for him. So everybody's getting older. All the Gen Zers, their hair's thinning, their back hurts. Things are just not as easy as they once were.
Yeah, Kurt Loder, he's still kicking. Obviously, he's hosting a Sirius XM radio show since 2016. I think it's True Stories, and I was just looking at his page, and he said that for his career, he said he just fell into it. And he elaborated that his entire journalism background was in 4 weeks. 4 weeks, that's it. Nothing else.
That's all it takes.
You can learn journalism in 4 weeks. It's not an overcomplicated thing. It's very simple.
I feel like that's undercomplicating things quite a bit, but
it's very simple. Everything was simple.
Everything was very simple. So happy 80th birthday to Kurt Loder.
It's a legend.
Yeah, the absolute legend. Another birthday to celebrate on this day in 1988. Adele was born. Obviously, one of the preeminent singers of the current generation, I suppose. Adele's been everywhere for God. I think if I remember right, like her first 2 albums, they were like after how old she was. Like it was like 19 and 22 or something. I don't remember, but. I'm not a big Adele guy, but she's incredibly talented, obviously. Yeah, 19, 21, 25, and 30. Those are the albums.
That's how old she was?
I believe so. I think that was the genesis behind.
Yeah, she's only 30. She's only 36.
Yeah.
Right now, she's young.
Crazy.
Yeah, it was Set Fire to the Rain was like that.
That was the big one.
That was
originally.
That was massive. Yeah. That was used on all the American Idols, right? I mean, I think everybody
Rolling in the Deep, obviously, too.
Rolling in the Deep, yeah.
Someone Like You.
Hello.
I mean, this is just like peak, like back in the
Someone
day.
Like You was the big
like
one that
2011, 2012. It was like Adele, and it was like the stomp and holler shit that was just absolutely everywhere on the airwaves. Like they just play like all of 21 from Adele, and then just go into like all the other, overall-y stuff. Kinda.
Yeah, she had a stranglehold on everybody during that time. Good for her.
Yeah. I not that anybody asked, but I think my favorite Adele track is from 21, and it's called "Rumor Has It." It's pretty good. It's got a lot of kind of soul-y, Motowny influence, which is sick. We're big fans of that. So, Ethan, this works out great because we have one more event on the calendar for this day in music, and I know it's one that's very near and incredibly dear to your heart.
You skipped one again. Was that intentionally?
Oh no! So actually, I'm not sure if your note updated, but we were acting on some wrong information.
Oh, crap.
That did not occur on this day.
All right. Well, it's good we caught that. Yeah, I'll do the last one because it's one of my favorite albums. So in 2015, Chris Stapleton releases his debut album, Traveler. And we know we love some Chris Stapleton here and the Grunge Bible. And I'm definitely, I remember when it came out, only because I remember when he got really big, and because we were still in college, it was that first year. And I mean, he's won like best voice, like I think best voice artist of the year like 5 times in the last 10 years, or maybe even more.
Yeah,
like he's on an
he always
unreal run.
wins. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's on a mythical run.
He's like a Michael Jordan of country, and I remember. I mean, yeah, I'm surprised he's so big that it's weird that he's only been in the business like 10 years in a way.
Well, so prior to his career as a songwriter releasing albums himself, or a singer rather, he was a songwriter going back to, I think his first writing credits came in like the early 2000s, and he has writing credits like on Adele records, and he's written for fucking everybody, because we all know about, Nashville and country music is that nobody writes their own songs. They stopped doing that a long time ago because they have no creativity or integrity. So Chris Stapleton wrote a bunch of songs for all of the Luke Bryans and the Jason Aldeans of the world, and all of those hacks coming from not even Nashville anymore, but wherever the hell they come from. And then he finally cut his teeth, and he's a more talented singer and clearly songwriter than all of those guys. So it should have been him all along, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so that first album, he was 37, I think.
Yeah, he was older, as far as people typically are concerned with, but he
so
did
on
it,
that
man.
album he has Tennessee Whiskey, but he also has a song Parachute, and I would always joke, because it would come, the chorus would come and he'd say parachute, but I thought he was saying pair of shoes forever, and I would always say pair of shoes, like I would always say pair of shoes to the guys, and they would get upset because I was saying it wrong, but they'd laugh, and it was fun.
I love those faux pas when it comes to misinterpreting lyrics. Like a week ago or so, I just posted Glorified G by Pearl Jam on the page, and it seems to be a very common experience that people misheard glorified
Eddie
version
Vedder?
of a pellet gun as glorified version of a pelican, as in the bird. Which would honestly be even better if there was, because I feel like a pelican is already quite glorious. So like the fact that there's like another glorified version of it. But yeah, I can't believe somebody would misinterpret something Eddie Vedder would sing.
Yeah.
Shocking.
For me, the classic, there's 2 classics. One is was it Fall Out Boy?
Loaded God Complex, Cock It and Pull It.
Yeah. Never understood that. But the other one, like, the song Hemorrhage by Fuel, In My Hands.
Yeah.
You know it, where he says, leave love bleeding. He goes, leave love bleeding. And my ninth grade art teacher, Mr. Fagley, he was a cross country teacher or coach for that year that we talked about last week, one of them. And but he would play it, and I remember him telling, he's like, this song, it always sounds like he says blee blah blee blah blee blah blee blah, and like it literally, like when you listen to it, he says leave love bleeding, but it sounds like he says blee blah blee blah, and like I always hear it that way.
It's close enough.
Yeah, close enough. I mean, it's a hit. It was.
A hit is a hit, as we all know. That's
awesome.
pretty great.
So that wraps up this day in music. Nice quick one for you.
There we go. We're making record time.
Now we're getting to the real This Day in Music from December 4th.
It's close enough. May 5th, December 4th.
Close enough.
This is good. This is the 30th. This EP turns 30 this year, so it's a good time to do this. And we talked about at least one of the songs on the Merkin Ball EP when we did our weird greatest hits thing, because I Got Id was on Rearview Mirror, the greatest hits compilation. But this is a really good topic. 2 great songs from Pearl Jam. Merkin Ball EP released December 4th, 1995, as we are aware, as you just said. And this whole like project and era of Pearl Jam is kind of one of those discoveries along the lines of when you find out what Temple of the Dog was, or when you find out that the Alice in Chains track Right Turn has Cornell and Mark Arm on it, and just those weird crossovers. And I didn't learn about this one until a little bit later, but this came from a period of time where Pearl Jam collaborated with Neil Young on a Neil Young album, which is really cool because, I obviously wasn't alive at the time that this came out in 95. And you certainly weren't listening to this music at the age of 1 in 1995, although you might have been. I don't know. Big appeal for the Mirror Balls and the Merkin Balls of the world. But, such a cool crossover, with Pearl Jam and Eddie Vedder being influenced by Neil Young so much, and, having performed with him a couple of times. I think in 93 at the MTV Music Awards, they did Rocket and the Free World together. But in 1995, the guys of Pearl Jam actually had the opportunity to record an album with Neil Young and serve as Neil Young's band on his album Mirror Ball, which, as I said, was also released in 1995. So just like such a cool moment, I can only imagine, for those guys to just go in the studio with Neil Young and make music together. And that collaboration came at a very important time, in a tumultuous time in Pearl Jam's history. Not all was well in the world of Pearl Jam in 1994 during the Vitalogy era, and then the tour that followed. Obviously, there were a lot of personality issues, and Dave Abruzzese left the band. Enter Jack Irons, the incredible drummer, and the experience for the guys in Pearl Jam to go and work with Neil Young in the studio and make a record together. A lot of the guys are on record as saying that, that was really important to them to, be in a positive, healthy environment, and kind of taught them how to be a band again, and in a way helped save the band moving forward. So I can only imagine too, the opportunity to make music with your heroes. So at the time, you had Jeff, Stone, Mike, and Jack in the studio all the time with Neil Young. Eddie Vedder was not in the studio a whole lot. He wasn't around much because at the time he was dealing with what he would later refer to as a pretty serious stalker problem. In the situation he went on to write about in the No Code song Lukin, which is just an absolute epic song. And we actually got a request recently to do an episode on No Code, and we haven't yet, and that would be a good one to do. But Eddie Vedder was around here and there, and he contributed some vocals on the Neil Young album, some backing vocals. But he ended up writing 2 songs, which we wanted to include on the Neil Young album, Mirror Ball. But I'm not sure of the specifics, contracts and all that shit. But Pearl Jam and Neil Young, they were signed to different labels, and the labels would not allow Pearl Jam to contribute music to Neil Young's record and writing credits. And who knows, whatever happens with lawyers and in that fantasy world out there.
Crazy.
But it's absolutely unbelievable. So instead of including the 2 tracks on the Mirror Ball album for Neil Young, Pearl Jam just released an EP themselves, and they called it Merkin Ball. It's a companion to Mirror Ball, and Neil Young appears on both of the tracks, which are I Got Id and The Long Road. He gives some backing vocals, and he plays guitar on I Got Id, and then on The Long Road, he's just absolutely ripping a pump organ in the background, which is epic. I think there needs to be a revival of organ being included in rock and roll.
More pump organ.
Yeah, more pump organ for sure. I think there's a couple things if there's an organ in the background, if there's a flute, if there's a saxophone, those are instant roadmaps to credibility and to me being interested in what it is that you're doing. So that's kind of the background for these 2 songs that Pearl Jam ended up releasing. And it's just such a cool nugget, when you find out that they collaborated with Neil Young, if you're a Neil Young fan. And I remember to go and listen to the Mirror Ball album that Neil Young did with Pearl Jam. It sounds so Pearl Jammy, and it's so cool just listening to the guitar parts. And when you can pick up Ed's voice in the background, it's just one of those cool moments as a fan to further identify and understand just how intertwined a lot of the musicians that we really admire were and are to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, it's a good nugget. I love when artists obviously collaborate and work together, and the Pearl Jam guys were known to do this. Obviously, they were in a bunch of different bands and projects, and these 2 songs, this is a good time for Pearl Jam, obviously for me. And these sounds like the the long road for sure. Like just maybe it is the pump organ, but like just like kind of the bouncing drums in the back the entire time. I mean, both songs have this. They're both like over 4.5 minutes long, I think. Long run being like 5, and they really set up a good atmosphere where you just like you want to go for a walk and you want to think about some stuff. You know, I got shit, I got id, and the long road. They kind of go hand in hand on like I said, a long walk, and just kind of thinking and trying to figure out if you're good enough.
Yeah, dude, 100%. And I might get some flack for saying this, but I think this EP was really coming up on like the last truly amazing era of Eddie's voice, and like to no fault of Eddie, he's just got older, and I think he was able to do things on this EP and on No Code, and I suppose on Yield a little bit too, that like you're just not able to do as you get older. But I think like this captures like his voice at his apex, and I think Jack Irons as a drummer brings so much to this group. And he just has his own personality drumming, and obviously Neil and the way that he plays guitar is so distinctive. These songs are really, really fantastic, and I remember getting introduced to I Got Id because it was on the Rearview Mirror Greatest Hits CD, which we got like in our infancy of our fandom, and what a song that is. So Eddie Vedder wrote these songs, and he was at a show live once, and he was introing the song, and he's like, I went to songwriting school, with Neil Young to try to write a good song, and I wrote this song, and it's like, I think Neil gave me a B+ on it, which, I mean, if this is a B+ effort, I'd like to see how amazing, an A effort would be. But yeah, they wanted to name this song I Got Shit naturally because that's the lyric, but the record label would not allow for it, so they decided to name it I Got Id, which I remember discovering that right around the time I was in college at the time, and I was taking a sociological theory class, and like we did all the Freud shit with like the id, ego, and super ego. So it was like right up my alley. I was like, I know this stuff. I should have introed it to the class. I was like, well, like here's a song about I got id, but I mean, truer words have never been spoken. I got memories. I got shit. That's just the way that it goes. And yeah, Ed's lyrics in this are so good.
I was gonna bring that up too. Like the lyrics are just it's like a poem. Talking about him being unsure of where he's at, and like say my lips are shaking, my nails are bit off. Been a month since I've heard myself talk. Been in hiding.
Exactly. Yeah, man, and. Oh God, like, so I'll just lie alone and wait for the dream where I'm not ugly and you're looking at me. If just once I could feel loved, oh, stare back at me. And then the end, like the post-chorus towards the final solo is so good. Like, I paid the price, never held you in real life. And I think sometimes people can write songs that are like a little bit obtuse and like hard to relate to on like a literal level. But I mean, this one just lays bare right in front of you. And it's just like the perfect, the perfect tying of the music and the lyrics too. I think Eddie Vedder said once that he tried to model the chorus, like he took influence from Cinnamon Girl by Neil Young. And yeah, this is like the perfect intersection of like Neil Young and what he does and Pearl Jam and what they do. This is a great song. Like I overlooked this one more than I should. And I don't listen to it as much as I should. And I would have loved to have heard this one live at some point. I don't think they played it at any of the 3 shows that I've gone to for Pearl Jam. But this one is just fantastic.
Yeah, I think it comes up pretty often in these conversations with Cornell or Staley, and where the band is playing and the singer is soaring over top. Like that's how this song is. Like the band is driving for most of, like they are driving the car for most of the time. And Ed, I just picture Ed up out of the sunroof singing this stuff, right? Yeah. He's just above it, like, just hair flowing in the wind and just kind of singing over it. And it's a really nice, like I said, it's a really nice jam and a really nice spot for PJ. And like I said, Neil brings a lot. Obviously, he's a good jammer. He's a good musician. So like, it probably was a lot of fun to put these together. I could only imagine the whole album. I'm sure that was a blast.
Well, that's the thing. Like, and like, I have to imagine, like, I've not had an experience similar to that, but like, it must just be like periodically you're in the studio with one of your heroes and it's just like like I gotta like pinch myself to realize that I'm here and I'm able to make music with this guy. And like not only make music, but like make music that rips. Like that Mirror Ball album is just an absolute ripper. And the Merkin Ball EP is so great too. And I think like with the 2 songs that they wrote for this, the second one, which we'll start talking about, Long Road, like you get like the 2 best sides of both of these groups, like of Neil Young, like obviously like with his ability to just like blow you away with his guitar and like his noise, but then also a lot of the softer stuff, like after the Gold Rush and, you know, some of his like acoustic-y, folky stuff, like bringing it down a notch and like being a little bit more fragile. You get that with Long Road, and the same thing with Pearl Jam. I mean, they have the ability obviously to just like assault you like through what they're able to do with their instruments and just play so loud, but then they can bring it down and just be really vulnerable and emotional. And you know, when you get these 2 tracks back to back, it shows like the range that they have. And I love the story behind Long Road, which I discovered a little bit later on after I had acquainted myself with the song. But Eddie Vedder actually wrote this song for a high school teacher that he had who was named Clayton Liggett. And he was, Eddie Vedder went to high school in the San Diego area. And when he was back playing a show in San Diego in 2006, he actually spoke at length about this song and about the background to it. So if I may, I would like to read his words because I think they're really applicable to a lot of us. And I think a lot of us have had experiences like this. So he began introing the song. He said, "I want to tell a little story if I can. It might go on for a couple of minutes. It has to do with education, and in particular, an educator. Think about your lives. If you have one teacher that really meant something in your life, that changed your life, raise your hand. I just want to tell a story about my experience. I had a teacher who got me through some things and taught me so much. A lot of us were touched by him. It was a hard touch. He's still with us today. Now, my friend and mentor, Clayton, he's no longer with us, but he still lives inside all of those that he touched. I remember when I got the call that he had passed. We were actually in the studio with Neil Young. We were in the back room having dinner, and we got this phone call. As soon as I heard who it was, I knew what it was. After I heard the news, I just had to leave the room. I left the room and went into this empty studio, and I picked up a guitar. I think I was looking for somebody else to talk to outside the conversation, but there was no one except for this guitar. So I picked it up and I hit a chord, and I hit the chord again. I think I was trying to like ring a bell, right? I was trying to ring a bell to say we lost one of the good ones. This is an important moment in history. We lost one of the good ones. So I kept hitting the bell for like 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Then the other guys and Neil came into the room. Without saying anything, they just picked up their instruments and started hitting the bells. We were all recognizing, we were all ringing the bell. I went up to the mic, and then this song happened. So this night is for Clayton, and this song is for Clayton. Thanks for listening." And that's perfect too, because I mean, as the song opens, like he just keeps strumming that D chord over and over again. And you know, I'm sure that's how it happened. And yeah, it's just like one of those things, because I think we recognizing like through the lens like why that song came into being and what it's about, like that's something we can all relate for. It's funny, like you just mentioned like a teacher and a coach that you had earlier, and I think we all have those people that meant a lot to us, you know, that were teachers and, you know, that were such a positive influence on us. So for Ed to memorialize you know, somebody that meant a lot to him, and just for the story too, like I'm sure the guys, when they came into the room and they saw Ed just playing, like, you know, what a interesting and awesome moment it is. Like without saying anything, you just pick up the instruments and you just put something together and it's perfect.
Yeah, that's really good anecdote about the song, and it got me thinking, you know, I'm here in Kentucky. This is where I graduated college. This is where we started the Grunge Bible podcast. Yeah. And, you know, I'm coming, there's a few people that are still here from my time here, but there's also a few that aren't, or, you know, they're not passed away. They just moved away. And, you know, I graduated in 18 now, so it's been 7 years. And, you know, I remember when I transferred that, you know, it was like, I was talking to our counselor, Penny Samaya, and he was talking about the brand that you produce and you make over a year and how you get, you know, basically, you know, if you're in a small town for long enough, I mean, your name gets big type of thing. And even in the bigger cities, you carve out like what you are. And, through. I mean, it's like I said, it's a long road, but then you came to Kentucky, and everybody called me Steve the Pirate, and there was recognizable features with the long hair and whatnot, and I hope that every time when I leave a place, you leave a mark, and you can be, say remembered. But like as time passes, I mean, it's hard to, and the stories fade all the time. But I came back and I talked to people, and it just really, it is nice going back to a place that you spent a lot of time with, and there are still, you're remembered at certain times, and for whatever reason. And I'm just thinking like, that's life in a lot of ways. You go and you try to leave your mark and try to leave a positive mark, and then and sad things happen where you learn, and you're just like, oh man, like this person that was a part of my life for so long is no longer here. So how am I going to remember them, right? And it's awesome. Music is a great way to let those emotions live and let those feelings live. And this song, like, I mean, the Long Road is very emotional. Like, I love the drums to it the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, the pump organ, but like it just sets up like just a sense of thought and like thought provoking, music where you're just kind of caught like, all right, I need to slow down here and think. And it's a lot of fun. This is definitely my favorite version of Pearl Jam. I mean, I like when they're rocking really hard and whatnot, but like this. This isn't something that you get a ton from. I get more from this than like Soundgarden or I mean, Alice in Chains make you think, but it's usually a little different.
It's in a different way. Yeah,
it's a different mode, and then Nirvana doesn't really offer that.
Yeah,
so like,
well, and this is interesting because I feel like a lot of the songs, like the sadder songs from this genre, like they call you to reflect inward on yourself, and like this one is kind of different in the sense that it calls you to reflect on those around you, and like this song is such an invitation to do that. And like I've consciously done that before, because I think like when we go throughout our lives, obviously like you said, it's been 7 years since like you left Lexington, and that's a lot of time. The years stack up, and the interactions stack up, and the relationships stack up too. And I think I've done this before with this song. Like I've just listened to it, and like I've just tried to go through the different phases of my life and just think about the people that have impacted me and how fortunate I am, because every time I do that, I realize that like so many more people have impacted me than what would immediately come to mind had I not intentionally gone to reflect. Like even people that are in passing, and sometimes like you remember the impact, but you might not even remember like their name or like specifically what they did for you. You just remember like the way that they made you feel, or that you felt that they helped you, or they taught you a certain lesson. And it's important to do that, to one, as a person, to leave your impact for other people, but then to recognize how other people have helped you along the way, because like nobody gets through the long road on their own. We all have to walk it, obviously, but we're not on it, and we're not traveling through it on our own. And that's another lesson I think that this song gives me. I love how it's like we all walk the long road, and it's just the outro is just, it's alternating, will I walk the long road, and then we all walk the long road. And it's kind of nice when you lose somebody or you go through tough times, like you're not alone, and like there's people that are doing it alongside you.
It blows my mind what stuff sticks out in your mind, like what little interactions that you like there's no reason that I should remember this, but I do. And I think it's so funny. And you're like, and there's a lot of times you're like, I know I remember this, and there's no way that they remember this.
That's right? The thing. It's like, to you, it is the one thing, but to them, like they don't even remember it happening. And like we've had those discussions about stuff that like, hey,
we
like
needed to tell them.
Yeah, dude. Like, hey, man, like I just want to let you know, like, you did this for us like that one day 10 years ago, and like I still think about it, and like
roommates.
Yeah, and like I still talk about it all the time, and then like I don't even remember doing that. But like that's like a good
it all comes out in the wash.
Yeah, it's a good way to lead your life. It's like you just like get in the fashion of just like, if you have the opportunity to, like, you help or like you do something for somebody, and it can be something really small, because you never know like how much it's going to mean for somebody. In the way that like this story, like Ed's teacher Clayton, like, I'm sure a lot of times people don't even realize the extent to which they had an impact on somebody. They probably know that they're helping, but they don't realize that it's going to be that important to somebody. So, and it's nice to recognize that. And obviously, as we said, like you have the chance to tell somebody, I think it's important to tell somebody that you impacted them.
And I love when people would say that to me. And I feel like I've had those interactions, a little bit more because you get older, so time passes and be like, hey, they tell you this, and I'm like, wow, like I say it all the time, like I want to, anywhere I go, I just want to leave an impact, with people, with like groups, and like if I have any type of impact like that, I do want to know what it is. I mean, it's just like, and it gives me assurance to like keep going the same way.
Yeah.
And this one's a little funny, but it's weird how your mind works, right? I was in 4th or 5th grade. We were playing midget league baseball, which is just pretty funny to say. And I was on the Oakland A's. We were the A's.
Oh yeah.
And I was teammates with Gray Garber, and Drew would like the story because Gray's a good friend from high school and junior high and whatnot. And Gray was his dad was on the baseball team. His dad threw BP all the time. He had the iron arm. And but when we played, we obviously like sunflower seeds were huge, and like we wanted to see we just wanted to see how much sunflower seeds we could eat.
Oh yeah,
right.
That's what you do.
We would all the time. It was just like a big, I don't know. It was a topic, like we it's sunflower seeds, and I remember doing them. I mean, I see you could do it, eat them the fastest and get the shells out and whatnot. And I remember, every once in a while you get a sunflower seed that's burnt. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And the flavor is like nothing, like it's just like really like bitter and like it's a bad seed, legit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
And I remember, and I was like 10, and I was eating some, and I got one that was like, it made my mouth like
terrible.
Like it was so bad. And I remember looking at Gray, and I was like, I just ate a seed. It was so bad. It was this, that, all that stuff. And I remember he just looked at me and he's like, next time you find one of those, give it to me. Make sure, like, I want to taste it. And I was like, got it. And I remember walking away, like, how the hell would I do that? Like, if I'm eating the seeds. But he's like, next time you come across that, like, give it to me. I want to taste it. And I was just like, that's not possible. Later I'm just like, and I've never told him that. I was like, I remember you said this, and it was just so funny to me because I was like, he like really seriously was like, he's like, all right, next time you're eating sunflower seeds and you find one of these, you got to come get me. And I was like, yes, sir. I was like, absolutely. And
I will do whatever you say.
It makes like no sense. And for some reason, like that just like it's just weird when you're kids, like what sticks with you. And that's why development in kids is so important, because you don't know what is going to stick.
Yeah.
To them.
And even something as silly as that, it's like, you never know, like the interactions that like people are going to still look back and laugh about.
Yeah.
And like, that's like such an important part. It's like not only like the serious ways that people impact you, but just like lighthearted stuff that, make people smile. It's so important. And that's the lesson that I take away from The Long Road, this song. Yeah. It's a really, really special song.
Yeah. Yeah, two really nice songs. It's one of the smallest EPs you can do, right? 2 songs. I guess if it's one, it's a single. If it's 2, it's an EP. So
yeah, man. And fun fact trivia: "The Long Road" was the second ever Pearl Jam song that we heard live. They played it after release at Fenway Park in 2016. So that's a hell of a show open. The release right into The Long Road. That's special, man.
It's so funny because if you see a show back to back, like, you obviously want a different set list. You don't want the same exact set list. But if I were to go to a show and you tell me that they were going to play that same exact set that we heard in 2016,
I'd be okay with it.
I'd sign me up, dude.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
let's run it back.
Let's do it. That sounds so special.
Yeah.
And they probably do that with like, certain bands probably do like, they redo shows that they did, like iconic shows or something. I'm sure that's a thing.
Yeah, and certainly I'm sure it happens just with bands that don't have like much set list variation, so to speak. And the best part about that would mean that there would be no songs from Gigaton because it wasn't out yet. There, I said it. Thank God.
That's so funny. Yeah, now you have the risk of hearing like,
it didn't exist.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, man. So that's pretty good. So definitely take some time, listen to these 2 songs. And I also think it'd be cool if you're feeling proactive after listening to this, like reach out to somebody like that, you remember something funny that they did or something cool or a cool way that they impacted you, and tell them that they impacted you in that way, or that, you still remember that thing that they did for you. I think that's cool. It's cool to recognize it. And then it's also obviously a special feeling to know that you did that for somebody. So that's the homework this week for Grunge Bible Podcast, episode 215.
Heck yeah. All right. That wraps up the Pearl Jam side of the pod. I think we have one last thing to do, right?
Yeah, we do. One final passage here.
And I can go first for the songs of the week.
Cool.
Because I go back. I don't make many playlists these days. I've always been a liked songs guy. If it makes the liked song, that's the one big playlist. So I usually go look at my last few, and I've had, since we last talked, I have like 4 songs to pick from basically. And one was a PD song that we put on our playlist for when we were walking dogs last week.
Oh, yeah.
And then I had a few others. But yesterday I was inspired when I was driving. Our buddy Sam, who was on last week, he brought up Ned's Atomic Dustbin. And this band was brought up, and I can't remember how it was brought up, but I remember a follower, or maybe it was a Patreon member, somebody brought it up and was like, I don't know if they compared it to another band, but like, you gotta listen to it. And I listened to it like briefly. I remember him being like, oh yeah, they're exactly what you'd expect. They're just like a 90s kind of like punky rock band. And I didn't get too deep into them. But then, Sam randomly hit us up yesterday and was like, what do you guys know about Ned's Atomic Dustbin? And he said they had 2 bass players, and one plays like regular harmonic, or one plays the bass lines, the other one's harmonic. And he was like, just talked about the album. So I went on to listen to, the album is Godfather, like Fodder, Godfather. And their one song, I think it may be their most played song, is Gray Cell Green. And it's pretty electric. Like, it's like there is a lot of chaos going on in the song, but like the drums are really fun. They're just like fast and just all over the set the whole time. And his voice is really solid, and like it's like an echoey sound to the drums, and like, I don't know, man, it like really caught my ear, and I was like, I'm gonna listen to these guys. So I listened to the album, and it was really solid. But Gray Cell Green, it was really fun.
The
like
Godfather.
Yeah, it's kind of like I said, it's like a trance rock where the drums are like kind of going in the background, the guitar's like meh,
and we love that shit
like,
too.
Oh yeah. So yeah, there's something about it, just
that's awesome.
I listened to it, I was pumped up. So
nice, dude. I like that. That's a good addition.
Godfather.
The Godfather. All hail.
All right, your turn, Chris.
My turn. I really want to pick a medium build song, but I think we're gonna probably do an episode about him potentially in a couple of weeks, so I'll save it. So I'm kind of going to tie into the conversation that we just had about the long road. My song of the week is going to be Learning to Fly by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Nice.
Specifically because I just thought about this the other day, because you and I were chatting about this man, but in 2015, it was the one year that we were at Pitt together, and our throws coach, Chip Brundage, I remember, texted us in the men's team group chat on like a Sunday afternoon, and he sent us a YouTube link to Learning to Fly by Tom Petty. And he was just like, I just want to let you guys know, like, I'm really proud of you guys. You're working hard this spring, and you guys are going to be able to get your reward. Like, I'm proud of the work that you're doing. You guys are committed, and that means a lot. And he sent us Learning to Fly. And by that time, like, he knew, and like we all knew, that like he was leaving the school and that we were probably going to transfer. And at that point, both of us especially were still very young in our careers and young in our time in college. And it was, I still remember, I think I was on the bus. I was on the 23 or whatever the hell, the 10A, the bus.
The 10A, yeah.
I was on the 10A when I got that text. And it was one of those like lyric videos where like it was just like a blue screen with the lyrics to the song that was on it. Yeah, I was just thinking about that the other day and like how cool that was. And I always think about that song, and I always think about him when I hear that song. So
there you go, a moment right there.
One of those
just
moments,
like we were
yeah,
talking
man.
about.
Yeah. I'm sure you remember getting that text too, and it was.
I'm sure Chip would love to hear that. That meant a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it back to him and repay the favor.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, man. So that's my song of the week, Learn to Fly by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Such a great song. So
Yeah.
perfect.
It's important.
Man, it makes you think every time. It's, you know, learn to fly, but I ain't got wings.
Yeah, coming down is the hardest thing.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and listening to the Grunge Bible podcast. It means a lot. We're doing our best. We're going to keep doing it. We got another episode coming next week, and we look forward to seeing you again, Chris, next time we podcast.
Yeah, man, it's coming soon.
Oh yeah.
All right, everybody, take care. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Peace out, everyone.
Rock and roll.